What is up, ShadowZone Podcast fans and followers? This is Brian, James, that is, your ghost host with the most. And it is a beautiful Friday morning. Well, Friday evening, I should say. Morning for the people across the pond, but that's all right. We got a good show for you tonight. We got Tarin here with us tonight. We'll bring her on in just a second. But of course, before we start, ShadowZone we are partnered with D's Ghost, sponsored, if you will. So if you want great equipment at a low price, go to dsghost.com, enter the promo code GlobalEQ, and get 10% off of your first purchase. Also, if you go to Parapost Network, it is a Facebook-like atmosphere for paranormal investigators, completely drama-free, great platform running right now. All new features coming up soon. It'll run on Apple, it'll run on Android, it'll run on laptops and computers. And if you don't want to download the app for free, you can go to parapost.net to get your stuff going on today. So, without any further ado, I think we just might bring Miss Tarin on. Let's wait for her, see if we can catch her in a blooper first, though. I don't know. We're waiting, and she's on. Dang it, we didn't catch you in a blooper.
No. How
You're
are
too
you?
smooth. Good. How you doing, Tarin?
Good.
Excellent. So, Tarin, tell us a little bit about yourself, being new to ShadowZone and myself.
So I'm from New Jersey, unfortunately. Born and raised, and didn't really get into the paranormal until I was probably about, I would say, let me say, well, I'm not going to tell my age, but what I will say is I got into the paranormal probably about 2010, maybe. Before that, I wanted nothing to do with it. And not because I hated it, but because I was afraid of it. I had nothing, I was just too afraid to even whatever. But I had my first experience in Gettysburg, and I was like, wow, that wasn't that bad. And it made me curious. I wanted to find out how, why, what, everything. So eventually I joined a local group around here. And that was an intense training to even get into the group. It was 3 months. It was field training, and then there was a written test, and there was all kinds of stuff. Groups, as we all know, have drama.
Oh, yeah.
and
it's already.
I can't.
Huntophobia, you dirty dog, you.
And now I lost my train of thought. I wasn't about all that. I wasn't about the politics, with the director, the I wound up being the co-director of the group, but it was just so much drama and so much, and I'm a very open, honest person. Like I don't do well with talking behind people's backs and saying stuff and not confronting the person and this and that. So it just wasn't for me. I broke off and I started to do Paranormal Brew with another person that was a part of the group at the time. He came with me. And then, that was 2017. And it started out just as being on internet radio. And then I decided that I felt like, I wanted to do the Facebook Live stuff. I thought it was better. And little by little, the show just kind of evolved. So then I started having guests on and going forward. And then, it started out with just, groups I knew, people I knew that were into the paranormal, and ended up where November 24th, I had Jason Halls on, and for me that was like my biggest moment, to be able to have him come on. And here I am on ShadowZone.
How about that? I mean, a lady that's got it going on. I mean, getting people like Jason Hawes on her podcast, and here she is on my little rinky dink podcast.
This is not rinky dink.
Honestly, it hasn't been bad for a little under 6 month ride.
Yeah. Yeah, and and that's what you have to look at. Like for me, since 2017, I it took me a while to get to where I'm at, and but that's because I love it. And I'm very dedicated to it. Paranormal Brew is my baby. And I think just I don't ever want to lose the passion for it,
Interesting. I mean, when I started the SGC, or the Spokane Ghost Crew, with my boys, my brothers, it took a while. It took us a good year or two to get real big up there and start getting really noticed, and not just doing friends' houses or acquaintances' houses. We were doing some of our own residential, some of our own big buildings. But you're absolutely right. It takes time to build your team.
Yeah. And the biggest thing behind that is your integrity, your respect, and you have to try to maintain that, and sometimes, in this field you come across people that don't know what their agendas are or what their motives are, but they either one, they're jealous and they're just trying to, you know, ruin what you've built, or they're just in it for some reason for attention, or they got mental issues, who knows what, but you always have to be careful. I this past week I learned a really bad lesson, and which is unfortunate, but going forward, I know what I have to do for future guests on my show.
Absolutely. I've been fooled once or twice myself, and I didn't do my homework, and I let this person on my show, and he told some fantastic stories.
Right.
I introduced him to my circle, and this person, just after doing some searching and everything, came up empty-handed.
Yeah.
Can't verify anything, and I had a big idolization for said person. He was one of my top 3, and it really sucks to do everything that you can to try to clear something, and you just come up with a lot more questions than answers.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you look back, right? You look back, and like I know I do anyway. I look back, and at the time, talking to this person, on my show, I wish I would have like took the time for 1 second to I can't even.
Wow, huntophobia.
I think he means coming on my show. He means coming on my show.
Wow, this got X-rated real quick. My show has a tendency of doing this. My goodness, Tarin, we got a red face.
So, I look back and I'm like, how did I not question some of the things? Because when you think about it, a lot of the stuff that was being said on my show, is pretty big stuff. I mean, and there was talks of being at an execution with Ted Bundy. I mean, why wouldn't I have said, wait a minute, you were invited to this and you were, how did you get to be invited? And how you don't and the thing is people like that have they're very smart, unfortunately, and the manipulation they know how to master. So, you ask a question and they start to answer it, but then they go off on this rant somewhere else and they say so much information from when you forget what you had originally asked, and by the end of it, the show's over, the person talks so much, and then afterwards you're watching it again, which I watched it again. So I started to message this person and ask them questions, and the answers I was getting weren't they were avoiding the answer. And then I got a phone call from somebody, a friend, and she felt the same way. And I didn't even talk to her yet. I didn't have time, and she felt the same way. She was like, that guy was, he was weird, and and this and that, and I got a bad vibe, and I said, so did I, and then I started to do a little research, and I couldn't find anything. I mean, when people say that they have degrees and they have certifications and they opened up a practice, you should be able to find that information. That's not
that's all open to the public, especially if I'm going to look for said person in said field. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to look at their license. I'm going to look at every little thing about them before I send my son or daughter or myself over to that said person.
Exactly. And it's everybody does it. If you need a doctor, you need a psychologist, you need this. People they look them up. They look at, reviews. They look at, where they went to school. They look at where and that all that information is public, whether the person wants it public or not, it is. It's public. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've been in the medical field since I was 17, and every doctor I've worked for, whether it be a specialist or a primary care doctor or a veterinarian even, and a psychologist, I mean, you're going to find certificate numbers, licenses, where they went to school. It's all public knowledge on Google. It's the easiest thing. Google, and it should show up.
I mean, if you Google, Spokane Ghost Crew, for example, you're going to find 8 years worth of shit on my team.
Right.
You Google Tarin, you're going to find years worth of shit on you.
Yeah, I Googled myself one time and I saw pictures from my MySpace.
Oh, wow. Okay, you are old now. We're talking MySpace. You got to be in your early 20s there, honey.
Early 20s. I love you.
But just say that I look 25 and we'll be good to go.
You do. I was going to say that.
Oh, now you're just buttering me up. You're sweet. See, now this is the keeper for the show, folks.
Yeah. So I just can't stress enough. I mean, there are a lot of podcasts out there now, and a lot of people doing shows on YouTube and stuff. And I mean, you just have to be careful. I most of the guests that I get come from trusted people that I know and I trust. And but if you don't, you have to do your research on them, because like I said, it's the integrity of our field and other people and getting in. And then you got to question what the agenda is and the motive. What is it that he wants? What is it that they want out of that? Completely lying about everything.
Because you see, here's my problem. With a person like we're discussing right now, he comes on your show, he sucks everybody in your group in, and then everybody finds out that this really isn't going on, that none of this really happened. And who looks like the jackass in the end?
Exactly.
It's us.
Right.
We look like the fool because we let that said person in and we let that said person go and we believed it and this and that. I'm in agreement with you 110%. People, do your research before you let your guests on, because we don't need this in our field.
Nope. We
You
it's
know,
it's
somebody
already it's already, to outsiders, it's gimmicky because of the shows. They don't realize all the good stuff that we do. There's groups out there that clean up cemeteries. There's groups out there that, raise money to help preserve historical sites. There's groups out there that do events for animal shelters and wounded warriors. And I mean, there's so much out there that we do, and then you have somebody like this come along and tries to, you know, kind of take some of that away, and whether we like it or not, whether we can say, no, 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 we can defend it all we want. But, the people that want the paranormal field to be, to crash and burn are going to take that and run with it. They're not going to care what we say.
absolutely.
So, I mean, I feel, very, I was very embarrassed about it at first, and I couldn't believe like I said, I learned a lesson from it. And then the only other thing I could do was, I'm on a couple of networks. My show gets streamed on a couple of networks. So I reached out to the owners of those networks, and I let them know. And really, April, my friend April here, she's awesome. She's the psychic housewife of New Jersey. She's a medium, and she's like been on the Holzer files and everything like that. But after I had this person on, I was feeling a certain way, but also questioning myself. Like, am I just being, because I'm not like, I'm an investigator and all that stuff, but I'm not one of those people that can walk in a building and feel spirit or feel, I don't see things very often. But when she called me and said, there's something not right with this guy. I said, okay, well then I guess my intuitions are not far off. If I have somebody else that thinks the same thing. And again, in this meantime, I was like Googling and trying to find stuff and looking up things, and there was just nothing. There was nothing. And then I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be, so I reached out to a couple of people that I know, can do background stuff, and they weren't finding anything either. They did find some things that were, I really can't say. I was told not to say anything, but not good. And then that's when I knew. And then I looked back and I said, you know what, this guy is totally full of shit, if I can say that. I mean,
Feel free.
I haven't found, I haven't found anything that has been said that has been true. I mean, and when you think about it, you think to yourself, why did I believe that? But he even said at one point, and not on my show. I sound like a stalker, but I started to watch the other podcasts because all of a sudden, like he wasn't around, and then all of a sudden he's everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's on every podcast. So I was like, where has this guy been? There's a lot of people that are in this field that have been in this field for 30 plus years. You know who they are. You know who they are. You've heard of them. I've heard of him. So I started listening to other podcasts, and then on those podcasts, he was like saying different stuff. So I am on there, keyboard warrior, like asking all kinds of questions, like, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, not only did he say he was pen pals with Ted Bundy, but he's also pen pals with Jeffrey Dahmer, the son of Sam, and BTK killer, Jeffrey Dahmer, and saying that he's had these letters back and forth. So I'm on there like, show the letters, prove that this is true. He also said that he was invited to Ted Bundy's execution and went. And I noticed, he said that when he was describing what happened, because he did that. He said that when they pulled the lever down, smoke came from his head. And really, in the actual report, it said that the smoke came from his leg, not his head, which I know is little. But when you find out, that's just something you wouldn't forget.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, I don't even know if I was supposed to even go all out, like, and say all that stuff because that's, like, a lot of information, but, um but needless to say, I'm not a naive person, and I tend to think of myself being very, a good judge of character, and for some reason, I was duped. I just totally took everything he was saying at that moment, with at face value, because I've never really ran into that problem before. I've never ran into that issue before. Um, I did have one other person on, but I didn't find out until maybe a year and a half to 2 years later. It was the same thing. And that was one of the things that started my questioning the person I had on, because I had somebody on before and he too claims to be helping with the police to help with finding missing people. So when this person said they worked 35 years with the FBI of Florida, the Attorney General in Florida, and the police, the state police in Florida, I was like, wow, that sounds familiar, thinking about this person, prior. And then he said something about how a little bit later in the conversation, he must have forgot that he said that, because he then said that he tried calling the police over and over and over again because there was a girl that was missing, a little girl, and he knew where she was at. And he was calling them, and they were just hanging up on him. They were telling him he was crazy and not. And I said, well, wait a minute. You said you worked with them for 35 years. Why would they ignore what you're saying if they trust you, to work with them for so long? He even said he had a gun, but he wasn't considered a police officer. So they trust you this much to work with you for 35 years and, all this other stuff, but they're not going to believe you when you say, where a missing child is, and
There's the first hangman's right there.
but he had an answer. His answer was, well, back then, the wording, this wasn't the wording, but this is what he said, because then I came back at him with the direct question. But I said, so you mean to tell me they hung up on you because you were gay and they were conservative? That was basically his thing, saying that he was surrounded by conservative people, conservatives and Republicans and this and that, and he was gay, and then they didn't accept it. They didn't think, they and I said, but you still worked with them. Regardless, you worked with them. Like, why wouldn't they trust you? And I never really got a straight answer.
Of course not, because they just got themselves all tangled up in the web of lies and tripped over a few. And I bet you they changed the subject real quickly.
And so when I started to look into him and I started to notify people, there was the person put up a post that they were stepping back from the paranormal. I was like, good, go. Leave everybody alone. Just get out of it, just as long as he went away, I wasn't worried about it. I didn't like that he was trying to, slime his way into everybody and just for whatever reason. But he said, okay, I'm stepping back for good, completely. And I was like, thank God. And then all of a sudden I see him on all these other podcasts. I said, he's not going away, and it's been a couple of days. It's been, probably a week. I can't remember how long my show was, but I mean, like, I with talking to other people and, doing all this and that, this morning I woke up and I just put a post on my page about it, on my personal page. And I just to make sure that other people that are having the shows, I just want people to just be careful, and research your people. I'm sure you researched me, right?
Nah, I took Hunter word on it. Well, yeah, I had to research you, make sure you weren't a psychotic serial killer, and to make sure that Ted Bundy wasn't your dad or something,
Right.
Wouldn't want to touch
although,
on a family subject.
Ted Bundy's, if there was a daughter, that would be a cool guess. I guess. I don't know.
And we have a new person to our podcast tonight, Studio 6 Paranormal Podcast. Welcome, my family.
Welcome.
April B. Not sure who you are, but hello there and welcome to the podcast. And,
That's
quite
April.
honestly,
That's my friend April. That's the one that, has been, every time that he's on a podcast and we go on there, me and her are like asking him questions. We're like totally just like boom, 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 boom. And that the questions get ignored, but
she like your co-host then.
No. She has her own show. She's a psychic medium and she's very, very good. Like I said, she's been on the Holzer Files and, she works with, she does, she's actually doing an event coming up with Dave Schrader and stuff like that. And, but she's April Brusette is her name, and she's a psychic housewife of New Jersey. So she's one of my good friends, and she was the one that confirmed for me that what I was feeling was true. She called me and said, that guy you had on there was something about him I don't like. There's something about him that's not good. And what happened?
Was that?
Oh, I thought she was saying something. I thought I didn't hear it.
Oh, no. Well, would it step on your toes if I asked April and Studio 6 a question?
Absolutely not.
Well, all right. 2-part question here. Number one, if y'all ever want to be on my podcast, hit up Tarin. She'll get you to get a hold of me because we're friends on Facebook now. Yay. And also, if you want to join the podcast right now, if it's all right with Tarin, feel free to send out the invite, and the more the merrier.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please don't throw nothing at me.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think that again, like I said, I don't know what the agenda is, but I just want everybody to be careful and just make sure, you check research. You don't want anything. I mean, I know I've worked hard to get Paranormal Brew where it is right now, and I just found out like 20 minutes ago or half hour ago that I didn't even know this, but I guess they have a paranormal awards, and Paranormal Brew's been nominated for the best podcast. So I didn't even know that. Somebody,
Dude, congratulations.
I had no idea. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, that's
Dude,
so
you mean I got a nominee of one of the hottest hottest podcasts going on now on my podcast?
yes.
Holy shit. I feel honored. Huntophobia, you the man, brother. You the man. Thank you.
He's lying. Don't believe him. He's lying.
Shut up, Cardboard. That's my other co-host, Cardboard Rick.
Hello. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know that it was even happening. I somebody messaged me and said, just so you know, I don't know if you know this, but Paranormal Brew's been nominated for best podcast, and I'm like, really? I was like, okay. So I'm a little excited about it. That's awesome.
That's killer, man. That is killer.
Yeah.
So with the whole paranormal aspect of what you do, what was your first experience with the paranormal?
So unknowingly, I didn't know it at the time because I was 7. So I live near the Pine Barrens. If you have ever heard of the Pine Barrens in New Jersey, where supposedly the Jersey Devil is from. So I live near there. There's a town. It's called Atzion Lake. It's a cedar water lake. And I was in the water. You can't really even see from like your waist down because cedar water's dark red. And I was probably waist level. And I looked down and somehow I saw a dollar bill. And I'm 7 years old, right? So a dollar bill then was like, I'm like, oh, I can go and get like all those 5-cent candies and, this and that from the store or whatever,
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So I went underwater to get this dollar bill. I opened my eyes, which my mom was always like, don't open your eyes. It's cedar water. It's gross. But I had to look to see where this dollar is. And as I went underwater, he looked like a little boy. And he was coming at me so fast. He had black hair, and I remember his nose being very wide, abnormally wide, like not of this time. So I don't know, but I mean, I remember his nose being very wide, and he was tan. Now being 7, that's how I would explain it, right? It was tan. He was tan and he had red shorts on, and he was coming flying at me, and I jumped back. It scared the crap out of me. I swallowed water, which is gross. And I'm like coughing and I'm waiting. And then I'm thinking, oh my gosh, he probably thinks I was trying to steal his money. So I'm just going to wait and say I didn't know it was his, and I'm standing there for a couple minutes and nobody ever came up out of the water.
Huh.
Anywhere.
Now, the important part is, did you keep the dollar?
The dollar was not there.
Oh, damn. There goes your hopes of 5-cent candies.
I know. So jumping ahead, and then after, having my first experience then thereafter, was when I was in Gettysburg and I joined one of these. And then again, this was before I was into the paranormal. I did it because my mom wanted to do it. So I just said, okay, fine, we'll do it. So they did like this little ghost hunt in Gettysburg, with this group that was there. And I had an experience there which was weird. Half of my body was very, very cold. The other half, and this is the summertime, and over here I was warm. It was it was the weirdest feeling. And they started to kind of focus, the group started to kind of focus around me because I was like, I'm so cold? And you could see like I had like the goosebumps on the one side, and so they started asking questions, EVPs, and they had equipment that every time anybody would come near me, it would go away. Like I would feel normal, and then, the equipment would stop. But every time I was standing by myself, I would feel the cold again. And I would, all this equipment was going off and everything. And one of the girls had asked, do you like her? And they were doing what now I know is called like an EVP burst session or whatever. They were just asking questions, do you like her? And, you hear a male voice say, no, I love her.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. And I was like, holy crap. I was like, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Because I always thought that, you see a ghost and they're going to look like, the woman in the library on Ghostbusters. You know what I mean? When they're, she's coming at you and all of a sudden she turns into like Medusa. You never know.
Right. You were reading that.
No, that actually happened. It's called the Creek Bed, and the Creek Bed is behind Steinwire Ave, and there's a bunch of storage units and stuff back there. And oh my god, I can't.
Move operator.
But anyways, yeah. So it was called the Creek Bed, and it's behind Steinwire Ave, and that was the first time I ever had an experience. Devil's Den. I've never had. Now I think about it, I've never had an experience at Devil's Den, and Culp's Hill for sure has had a lot of. He's from PA. Oh, okay, they say they're from PA. They know the Creek Bed. Yeah, but so that was like my second thing, and then I decided just to kind of explore it a little bit more, and like ignorance is bliss. I didn't know what I was doing, so I would just take my recorders, and my sister and her boyfriend, we would go, at Sion Cemetery and go running around and, show us a sign of your presence and all this and stuff. And at the same time, ghost hunters started. So, all of that mixed together, it just kind of started me on the path, of where I'm at,
Gotcha. That's
That was a long-winded answer, wasn't it?
I like long-winded answers. If I don't have to talk much on my own show, hey, I'm enjoying a good freaking story. So, a Jersey Devil. What the hell is a Jersey Devil?
So supposedly the Jersey Devil is like a crypto type thing that people say looks kind of like a dragon with wings, or, something like that. Like, not dragon, but I don't believe in it. So, and I get, because a lot of my friends believe in the Jersey Devil. I do not. What I think the Jersey Devil is, actually, because there was I think a woman, there is record of a woman having a child, and this is where it stems from. But I think the child probably was disabled and not fully formed, and maybe had some things wrong with it. And back then they used to hide their children, like that. They wouldn't let them out. They wouldn't expose them because people were mean back then. They were, you didn't look normal, or you were different, or whatever. I mean, you were basically shunned from your community, and this and that. So I think this woman probably hid her child. And I think the rumors stem from there that, here she has like a devil child, or she has this, she has, nobody's allowed to see it. So I think that's where it stems from. I just think it's a myth. Other than that, like I said, I don't believe in the Jersey Devil. I think there's a lot worse things in those woods than the Jersey Devil, to be honest with you.
Like the toxic sludge monster of New Jersey or something,
I mean, just the people. I mean, there are Pineys that live in there, and Pineys are people that live off the land, and they basically have their own rules. The cops don't mess with them, they don't bother with them, and that they scare me more than anything else, because it's almost like they have their own, own rules, community. They can do whatever,
Oh. Yeah, that's a bit frightening.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't go deep into those woods, but like I said, the cemeteries are more on the outskirt of the woods, which that Sion Cemetery does. And not every cemetery is active, but that cemetery is very active. Every time I go, I get EVPs, intelligent EVPs, everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's some of the places that you've investigated through your career in the paranormal?
So Rolling Hills Asylum in New York.
Ooh.
As well as Wildwood Sanitarium in New York,
Yes.
Fort Mifflin, Pennhurst, Burlington County Jail. That's another one. Trying to think. Oh my gosh. Eastern State Penitentiary, Selma Mansion. A lot of places in Gettysburg. I did going to be doing Hoover House, actually, Hona Hoover, but that's Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. But almost everywhere in Gettysburg. I have a lot of friends there that I was able to investigate the Farnsworth Inn, and there's a place called the Inn at Lincoln Square. Investigated there. So, and then in between that was all, private homes, a lot of private homes.
Gotcha. Well, you sound like you have had an illustrious career in the paranormal. I mean, you've had some really big name investigations, and what were some of your favorite pieces of evidence you've caught during your investigation?
So I wasn't investigating. I was, and I say that lightly because when are we not investigating? Even if we're somewhere and we're taking pictures, you're always hoping to get something, right? Um,
Of
I was
course. Of
I was
course.
in Gettysburg and I was taking scenery pictures. And when I looked back, now this was with a digital camera back then. You had to have to go home and take out your little disc and put it in. Um, but there was a Confederate soldier on the railroad
Ooh.
tracks. I had it. I gave it to people. I had it looked at. And they've Mark Nesbitt, who owns Ghosts of Gettysburg, in Gettysburg, um, told me that he believes that that it's an apparition, and he actually hung it up in his store. So the picture's hanging up in the Ghosts of Gettysburg, which I'm very proud of. But that's picture wise, yes. And then, like I said, EVPs, I have so many, but the picture probably is the best. It's the only picture that I've had in, I don't know, all of my years of investigating. There's one.
But what about a bucket list? Money was no object whatsoever. You had to go to, let's say, top 5 locations.
I definitely would want to go to Italy. I'd want to go to.
Oh yeah, I just want to go to Italy for the spaghetti and lasagna, but that's another
Oh yeah, I
story.
want to go to Italy. Period. That's my huge bucket list. Like I just for
Right,
everything, I
right.
want to go there. But definitely Romania, where like Transylvania is, and all those places. Um, Dracula's castle, all those cool places would be cool to investigate. Um, the This isn't too far out of my reach, but Stanley Hotel in Colorado for sure. Would love to get in there. Um, and then England probably. The older the better, because
Absolutely.
I love historical places. So the older the better.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you 110% on that one. The older, the better, most definitely. Yeah, but I'm kind of one of them crazy investigators.
Mhm.
I want to go to like the Suicide Forest. I want to go to Bobby Mackey's. I want to go to these places that say are going to scare the living shit out of you, and you're not going to come back the same. And because with my team when I ran it before we went to Global United, we didn't have the luxury of going anywhere big, like sanitariums or jails or anything like that, because one, I had a piece of crap car, and two, we just never had the funds for it.
Mhm.
The only big place we got to go to was St. Ignatius Hospital up in Colfax. But that place did a pretty good job of making me change my britches a couple times.
Yeah, that's how Rolling Hills in New York was for me.
I
Um,
I love the scary stuff.
you would love Rolling Hills then.
Well, if the paranormal night crawler's on here, add that to our road trip, dude.
I'm telling you, you will love Rolling Hills. I mean, it is one of my most favorite places I've ever been. I had like again, I don't see things. I can be clairaudient, where I hear answers and stuff like that. But when I was there, I saw things, felt things, heard things. I mean, felt things so close to my cheek, like I felt a breath and a laugh, and they laughed, like they were right there. Whatever was right there, I don't know, but it was definitely it was such an experience. I mean, I was up in the hallway, where at the end of the hallway are two hospital looking like doors, where they swing open. Um, and it looked like there was somebody that walked past to the doors, and I counted my people. Everybody's with me. I said, "Did anybody see that?" And they said, no. And I said, well, somebody's in there. I ran down there. I stood outside the doors trying to listen if I heard any walking around or shuffling. Didn't hear anything. And then I opened the door. I ran through the doors and nobody was there. So, but I saw it. I know what I saw, and it literally looked like a person, and there wasn't anybody in that room. And there was nowhere to go. It was on the second floor. It was at the tuberculosis room, like ward. So there's windows throughout the entire place and there's nowhere to go. So Rolling Hills is definitely a place where if you have not been, I highly recommend it. And the owner is awesome. She lets you go wherever you want to go. Her only thing is no provoking and no disrespecting, which is what most of us do anyway.
Exactly. When I was in Colfax, we were in the morgue, and there was this big, just 12. What the heck? Oh, my camera was off.
Yeah,
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I was still going. I didn't care. I was still talking.
There was this 12-foot steel door, and I'm walking with my buddy Rick, and I happen to look back, and there's this thing standing over the door with his arms like this on top of the door, just staring at us. And I look at my buddy Rick and I'm like, dude, look behind us. And he looks. And I said, did you see what I just saw? He goes, about 12 foot, kind of yellowish eyes, staring a hole right through you. Yeah, that'd be the one. Wow. Yeah, he's still doing that. So we just kind of walked on, we didn't have our equipment or anything. We're just doing a tour. So we just kind of skedaddled a little quicker than what we would normally.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, people are like, they always ask me, don't you get scared? And I'm like, but like before you have time to realize what's happening, it's over with. I feel like your brain automatically tries to find a natural reason for what you're seeing or hearing or feeling. One time I thought I saw a bird flying inside of a bush. Like the bush wasn't moving, nothing like that. And my first thought was like, why is there a black bird inside that bush? And as the seconds went on, then I realized that it was like a shadow figure, but again, it was over. Then it was over, and so I didn't have time to be scared. I didn't have time to even think because, my mind just is automatically trying to make sense of whatever it is that I'm seeing or feeling.
Very nice.
Hi, Eldon.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
All right. What am I missing, Brian? Anything?
Who's that?
I've just been blabbing.
I'm missing all kinds of good stuff, I'll bet.
Oh yeah. You've missed a lot there, sir.
Well, sorry about that, man. I was kind of driving.
I think the consultant says it best here.
No, I'm early for the next one, okay? What's up, Matt? How's it going, buddy? And to answer your question, yes, we intend on stopping by to see the consultant, without a doubt, man. If we're going to be in that neighborhood, we cannot get out of Pennsylvania without seeing the consultant.
Of course not. So, Eldon, any questions for Tarin?
Oh man, boy. So I'm hearing a rumor about your podcast, Tarin.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a rumor that are you about to be nominated, or have you been nominated as the best paranormal podcast?
I'm a nominee. Yes, I just found out myself.
Very nice, fabulous, outstanding job, good work,
dude. We have a superstar on our podcast.
I am not a superstar. No way.
Oh yes, you are a superstar.
No.
So where can people find your podcast, Tarin? Because I would absolutely love to go back from your podcast 1 and just have a binge night with my wife.
Yeah. It's interesting, as you can see, you can see the transition as to where I'm at now. In the very beginning, it's hodgepodge, but so Paranormal Brew, I have a Facebook page, Paranormal Brew. Also YouTube channel. It gets streamed on Paranormal Brew, it gets streamed on YouTube. It's Paranormal Brew as well. Also Paranormal King Radio Network. They also have a YouTube, and it gets streamed on whatever radio waves or whatever it goes to. I'm not really good at technical stuff, so I don't really know. I don't know all that stuff, but on Parapost Network, my show gets streamed up there, and Unrestricted Paranormal and Unrestricted Paranormal 2, as well as BB3 TV. It's called. That's a Facebook page as well. And that's yeah, a little ghosty.
Somebody just ghosted us.
Who did that?
No clue.
So yeah, that's where I'm at right now, and I just, started, to be asked to come on to shows too, which I'm happy about, because I want to promote not my show, but the people that come on my show, because a lot of the people that come on, aside from 2 guests ago, most of them are very, very, very knowledgeable and have so much to share. And also the people that come on that do events to raise money for things, I want that out there, because I want to help build up their cause, and so.
Well, if you ever need guests for your show, the Global United would be more than happy to come on.
Yeah, we'll have to set that up.
We have some very interesting things to tell.
Yeah, I would love to have you guys on. Brian from Huntophobia will be on February 9th.
Ooh.
So he will be on.
It's fun to pick his brain. I like picking his brain. And he's so pleasant to talk to.
Yes.
I just noticed something. We've got our first ever heart for a podcast.
Your first ever heart?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like there's a
little heart right next to our viewing capacity.
Oh, you see it.
I wonder who did that. That was awfully swell of them.
Thank you.
Let me see what I can find out. Since I'm on the computer, I can actually hover over that. Let's see here. Hold on. Oh, look at that. Marcus Well from Minnesota Spirit Hunters.
Well, thank you, Marcus, you big soft teddy bear, you.
Me and Tarin. I can't even with him. He is.
Oh, huntophobia.
He
is a smooth operator.
I can't. Oh, so
Absolutely love it.
No, but you know what? I am very thankful for Brian. I mean, Brian, he when I first met him, the Parapost Network, he was very patient with me, because like I said, I'm not a technical person. I had no clue what the heck I was doing. And I must have sent a million things to the email, and he like had to deny them all. Like he had to literally walk me through it like a child, like a baby, and like tell me how to do it. I mean, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes, so. Brian is very awesome. He is such a big help, not only on Parapost, but just in the paranormal world in general.
Yeah.
He's an all-around great person to know and have as a friend.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, paranormal consultant.
And we also will be doing the same as the paranormal consultant did. And I recommend everybody go to Paranormal Brew on Facebook and YouTube. Hit that like, subscribe, and join button, because Tarin is just freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you. The show is every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm actually booked up until May 4th. So
Nice.
yeah, so I'll have a guest every Wednesday.
That's very funny you say that because we're booked up till May too. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's always good. Like I always get stressed out when it starts to get too close, and I'm like, but then you have to like kind of like weigh it out because you don't want to go out too far because then you got people that forget and then they like make plans and then you got to reschedule and then put somebody else on, and it's very it can be very. You just have to make sure. Like I always said, like 2 months out is good. So.
I made that big mistake when I first started my podcasts up in October. I did what I was calling Podvember. That was every day in the month of November. I would have 1 to 3 podcasts.
Oh wow!
And only 4 of those days I missed. But the people that were supposed to be on the podcast forgot about it too, so I wasn't feeling the heat too much on that one.
Thank goodness, right?
But that was strenuous.
Well, and it's funny because I called my November. It was like November to remember, because I had Shane Pittman on, I had Sherry D. Benedetti, and then I had Jason Hawes, and at the end of the month, I can't remember who that was. So I was like, here's my November to remember. But having Jason on was awesome, So.
Absolutely.
And
I actually sent him an invite. I sent his daughter an invite and her boyfriend Cody an invite. And they still haven't got back to me.
An invite what? For the...
To come on the show.
Oh. Yeah, well, I haven't reached out to his daughter yet, but he was cool. I mean, at first he was like, how long's the show? I said an hour, and he goes, okay. And then when he was on and we were getting towards the end of it, I said, I know we only have a couple more minutes. He's like, we'll go past it. Who cares? I'll stay on. So he actually stayed on longer than the hour. I mean, he was just awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, he was great. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
What's up, paranormal consultant?
Not much, brother. Eldon, I'm loving the background.
Hey, I'm loving
it's
it
starting
too,
to
man.
catch.
Yeah, I see that.
You let this bum on my podcast.
I invited
I
you.
asked.
Shift. I mean, it kind of looks like stars, right?
Actually, I like that. I
like that background. Yeah.
That's very snazzy.
Well, I
Now-
actually just did it myself.
That is cool. That is actually really cool. And Brian's rocking the Joker behind him.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that. That is sick.
Don't forget Jason Lives, Halloween, and hugging the Halloween and Pennywise.
Who can forget?
Michael Myers is my favorite.
I've always been a Krueger fan myself.
Yeah.
I like them all.
Do you?
Just depends on what
I
movie.
didn't like them all, but Michael Myers was always like, oh my gosh.
I love Brian.
I do too.
Sorry, Brian.
Oh, you heard it. Brian, you heard it. We have recorded evidence.
Hey, don't worry about it. I'm married. I got a collar on. I can run out to the end of my bark chain and bark. Gosh.
Hey, Matt, just a little bit more to your right there, brother. Just a little bit more to your right.
Wait, my right or your right?
No, you're right.
Yes. No.
There you go. Nope. Back again. There you go. There you go.
Perfect.
Cool.
That's creeping.
Oh, that's all right. You see this beautiful face right here, buddy.
We all can't win.
Exactly. Just remember, just because I'm 380 pounds, round is a shape, you guys. I am in shape.
Right? I feel the same way. I'm the same way. I'm nice and round and fluffy and keeps me warm in the winter.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, Tarin, did you guys get that nor'eastern that came through, or did you guys get sideswiped? Because we got
Oh no,
like,
it's
nothing.
it's snowing. It's snowing right now.
'Cause
Yeah.
we really didn't get anything. We got like maybe an inch and a half. I'm literally right in the middle of Pennsylvania in Danville.
Yeah, so I'm probably right now I live 20 minutes, 25 minutes from Philly.
Okay, so you're down that way. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah,
That's not too bad.
we're supposed to be getting slammed.
I can
Yeah.
feel the chilliness down here, guys. So, you know, I know it's got to be cold way up there up north.
Yeah,
I'm
those
telling
low
you.
70s, Eldon. Let me tell you.
I know, man. They're pretty
brutal.
cold.
Oh, ever. Oh my
man,
god.
I'd be in 3 sweatshirts. It's not like I go out in 13-degree weather in my shorts and a tank top to go smoke a cigarette every morning.
Nope, I won't. I would be hibernating. No way. Like right now, this is it. I'm hibernating. I don't like the cold. I don't like it at all.
Just be careful you don't hurt yourself.
Well, he said
Yeah,
hit the gym.
hit it
I'll
too
bring the
hard.
carton of eggs, guys. I'll bring the carton of eggs.
That's all you.
But
Unless you're making omelets.
hit the gym, Huntophobia. You might hurt yourself, buddy. It's better to go to the gym and not hit it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
you
might
can
break
always
your
go inside the gym and work out. You don't need to stand out there just beating on the wall. That's
Good way to
will let you in.
Yeah, I can't go to the. I hate going to the gym. I hate working out. I hate it. I used to be like the total opposite. I used to go to like work out like 6 days a week, and now I look back. I'm like, how the hell did I do that? So now I do a pyramid, and I have a weight, that I hold, and I do 100 push-ups, I do 100 squats, and I do 100 leg lifts, and that's my workout in my
I don't want to run into you in a dark alley. You'll kick my ass.
Does remembering all the PT in the military count as exercise? Because that's all I do anymore. I just remember everything I used to do, and that tires me out.
Right. I guess I should do a little bit more cardio, but I just don't want to. I hate it.
Now, you see, I'm a cardio fanatic. I will chase my kids around all day.
Well, see that's a workout.
Well, you also do parkour in your vehicles. I have proof of that. I have witnesses too.
Uh-oh. The camera hog has woken.
Like I said, are you sure you wanted me on here?
I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about him.
Oh, there he is. Hi, buddy. Well, now you're going viral. If you ever want to go viral, put your kids on.
That's right. Usually my daughter Pantera will come around and photobomb me once in a while. At least once a podcast, but she must be entertained with something. She's leaving me alone.
Yeah,
If you ever need a still photo for a thumbnail, just ask Cardboard.
Oh yeah. Oh
Wait, so where did the name Cardboard come from?
yeah.
Brian,
Go ahead,
tell it
Matt.
better.
You gave him
No,
the nickname.
you tell it better. It's your show.
Oh no. You're a guest.
All right.
Fire away.
So back when the SGC was still around, Rick and Brian used to co-host each other together and everything like that, and they were literally like 20 feet apart on 2 separate phones. It was the funniest thing in the world. And for some reason, Rick always had this knack to break something. It was either his headphones, the internet, something. So he kept freezing the one time, and I just blatantly said it looks like a cardboard cutout. And so it kind of just stuck with Cardboard Rick.
That's funny.
Which I'm still curious if he ever got new headphones yet. It's been a couple months.
No, not yet.
Sounds about right.
So I was like actually really excited to for somebody else to be on here, but I guess we can't get a hold of him, huh?
No.
No, unfortunately not. So, you know what? I got an even better idea. For all those watching around the world, wondering who the heck would be such a person to do this to the paranormal world, I think we should just announce that person's name. Just sorry. Just a personal thought.
Well, now your camera's gone.
There's a reason for that one. I'll get into that here in a few.
Oh.
I'm not supposed to do something on live podcast, so I turned my camera off so I can do it.
Oh, gotcha.
Homophobia, I agree, brother.
Yeah, I tend to agree with this one.
I couldn't give him shit. What is he talking
I think Brian's in trouble there. That's for sure.
Okay, well, I guess I'm
just gonna say it.
That's talent.
Whoa, you're good at it too.
Wait, why is
We're all
there
ventriloquist. No, see, now I'm a liar. That's
Fix
why,
that problem real quick.
right?
There we go.
Memories.
Well, should I wait for him to come? Is he going to come back in?
Yeah, he'll come back in. He's just let him finish up what he's doing there, I guess. Technical difficulties.
The funny
but
thing
yeah.
is, though, is that he was on a podcast earlier today, so I don't know why he wouldn't be available to talk to. So, anyways,
Let's see. Yeah, still not online.
Asshole.
Well, at least are we talking to ourselves still? Or no, we're good. So it fixed the problem then. See,
Well, there goes my career in ventriloquism. I was so excited for it too.
hey, get on your own side, Brian. That's my side.
how'd you switch it? See, I have no idea how to do any of that stuff.
Just click and drag.
Oh,
Yeah, it'll make
Actually,
you busy after a while.
Eldon, Brian, you guys should feel very special because I canceled my own show.
Oh wow! Well, thank you very much, there, Mister Paranormal Consultant.
Means a lot to us, consultant.
No,
But
I was
yeah.
fighting a real bad migraine all day, and I was just like, you know what, not really feeling it.
You know, I got a great idea, guys. From now on, when we want to call somebody full of shit, you know what we should call that?
Oh God.
We should call it, from here on out, a riggy. Are you riggying me right now?
That's a
Are
good
you
idea.
rigging serious?
I like it.
Are you riggy serious right now, folks?
Oh my God. So yeah, so I was duped by Robert Riggy. So if anybody has heard the name, because he's been making his way through the podcasts, some people believe I'm probably gonna, there's gonna be people that are like huge Robert Riggy fans that are think he's like the greatest thing, because they're telling him that. But yeah, I mean he's not legit. He has nothing to show. He says he's psychic medium. He never does readings. He doesn't have any proof of anything. I've asked several times for letters that he says he's gotten from Jeffrey Dahmer, BTK killer. Hi, Brian.
Oh, great. I've lost control of my freaking show now. First the paranormal consultant, now huntophobia is tapping in. Good Lord.
All right, that's what you're saying, Brian. Go ahead, buddy.
Brian was hosting my show a while ago, or yesterday.
What's up, Brian?
It's funny. I was in the car and I rushed home. So after, because Eldon sent me the links and I said, well, I'm not home right now, but I'm going to rush home. And here I am. I just had to.
Well, we're glad you did, Brian. Thank you for showing up,
Tarin.
Thanks.
I thought we were going to get read by you there, Brian.
Oh God!
Oh, I'm going to have so much fucking fun with this.
It's so funny. Like me and Tarin have been talking for a while and back and forth, and we're becoming close. And she's a good person. She's on my show this weekend. So
Yes, I am actually. Yeah.
For a person in her 20s, she's all right.
Oh, I love you.
Don't say that in front of these guys. Gosh. Make me blush. Oh man, I love these podcasts.
So I
Well,
had to come up
guys,
and make an appearance.
Well, guys, it's a pleasure as always. Brian and Eldon, thank you for having me on. Tarin, pleasure meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well.
And of course, prayer post Brian. What do I gotta say, brother? You're awesome. Much love to you, man.
Thanks,
the
man.
usual.
I appreciate it.
But apparently, I'm requested somewhere else, so I got to get going.
Come on, say your slogan that you normally say to me, buddy.
Oh, you knew that was coming, and now it's not any fun. But still, last word.
Dick.
I got you.
Well, I gotta let my dog in. He's like, come on.
Show's been great, guys. It's been great.
Thank you.
Yeah. And by the way, you're welcome. You're
Thank
welcome.
you.
You're welcome to provide this beautiful woman.
You know, that was almost a Barry Manilow voice, dude.
I know. I'm about to start playing it myself here. You know.
I know. I'm waiting for some chocolates, a dozen roses, a bottle of wine. Let's get this going correctly here, buddy.
I'm gonna behave.
You're gonna behave. When?
I don't know. You weren't showing very much behavior in the comments here, buddy. As a matter of fact, I believe it was you that turned this show X-rated. You dirty dog.
Little.
Come on.
You know what? I do it
There
just
we
out
go.
of fun. I just do it out of fun. Hey, how you doing?
Well, here's the one I was actually talking about.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. I forgot to put the word "show" in there.
I said it for you. I
You
said
sure did, Huntophobia. You sure did.
I said it. What?
I look back at it, and I go, "Oh shit!" So then later on in the comments, I put, "Oh my bad, I meant to put show in there."
I said it.
That looked terrible. Come on, her.
No, but I said
Come
it.
on,
I
her.
said show. I said
And
it.
you read that twice and went, "Oh shit."
She knew what I meant.
Great.
You guys know what I meant. Hey, Tarin, how you doing?
How you doing?
Oh wow.
Cue the lion theme. Can you feel the love tonight?
Actually, you know what? Just a side to side here. We actually do kind of look good together.
We do.
No, not a bad combination.
Well, I think we determined earlier tonight, I'm going to be coming down there to do an investigation with her.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah. Depending on the spot, of course. How you doing?
Give me that.
Uh-oh.
What
No.
the heck?
Sorry. My dog. He got a cat treat. Or a cat toy.
Anyways, I just want to briefly come up and say my hellos. I didn't want to stay too long. I actually wanted to come up and make fun of her a little bit, but
Make fun of me?
well, in a good way. Good way. But I'll do that on Sunday. I'll leave it for Sunday.
I mean, we did say Robert's name.
Yeah.
We did. Because
I
it looks
heard
like
that.
there's a lot of people on here, though, that have podcasts. So they should probably be aware.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, and I will say it here,
Are you
he
really
hasn't
serious?
been on my show. Pardon me?
Do you see that?
What's that?
So Brian said that from now on, if we're questioning anything, we should just say, "Are you Rigi serious?"
Yeah, I heard that.
It's another way to drop the F-bomb on a podcast.
You guys are terrible. You're terrible. All of you.
No,
Anyway.
I'm not.
Yes, you're terrible.
Terrible. Funny, maybe.
You cute as fuck, but you're terrible.
I'm not terrible. I'm not terrible. It's not my. Well, it kind of is my fault. I didn't show, but I mean, like, it was not my fault that I didn't. I mean, I should have looked into it. but
You
learned a
know what?
lesson.
At the end of the day, you live and learn, right? And you just realize when you're doubting something or you're unsure about something, you go back and research it. And I know Eldon's been researching it a lot for the last week, and you just got to do your research. And and that's what I did with Tarin, who's coming on the show. I got to make sure that she was all legit. So
Oh, you gotta scan them all, before the show.
Yeah.
I tend to look before I bring somebody on the show. I didn't have to because I already knew Tarin. So,
Well, just to let everybody know that Brian James over here, he's been lying to everybody. He says he's 380 pounds. According to his last medical record, he's actually 382 pounds. Just so you guys know that.
Damn it! I tried to shave off the 2 pounds to look like Rocky Balboa again.
anyways, I wanted to say hi.
Was your cousin?
I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Me too.
I hope I see everybody at the show. And before I go, I'm going to say this. Hey, Darren, how you do it? Talk later, Taryn.
Yes, dear.
Okay. Thank you, guys. As always, thank you. And you guys
take care, Brian. Good seeing you, buddy.
You guys are the best. Okay. Well, I'm first, but you guys are close second.
Hey, goodbye, Brian. See you later, buddy.
See you guys later.
Later, buddy. Man, I'll tell you what, that man has the Canadian persuasion right there.
Oh, man. No doubt about it.
He doesn't have like the Canadian accent.
Until you hear him say about.
You what?
If you listen to him say about, that's the only way you can tell he's Canadian.
Is that one word? Yeah, because normally, I wouldn't have guessed. And when we talked, he goes, "You have an accent." I'm like, "No, I don't. I don't have an accent." He doesn't have one either.
He could be rigging you.
He could be rigging me.
It sounds so natural rolling off of your lips, Tarin.
Huh?
It just sounds so natural rolling off your lips when you say that.
Oh, wait, I do have a serious question. Ready?
Ready.
I still have not unfriended him at all. I think I'm like trying. I want a response from him.
I'm with you. And if we get that response, I will cancel any member I have on the podcast coming up just to bring him on so he can show his evidence and we can clear his name.
So the show he was on earlier today, they said they have a whole bunch of things lined up where he's going to be talking about each individual serial killer that he has interviewed and has letters from. So like one show is going to be about Jeffrey Dahmer and he's going to show the letters. This is just to me, and because I don't believe anything, like now I'm like, oh, okay. So now because people keep wanting to see these letters, he could just easily write something,
Yep.
But you could always, what he doesn't realize is, you could take a screenshot of that and somewhere on the internet, you're going to find where Jeffrey Dahmer wrote a letter and you can compare the writings and the handwriting and, this and that. But I'm so angry at him, and I wish he would have came on here because I totally just want to just ask him, why is he doing what he's doing? I don't understand it.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
And the best thing was watching your show. I mean, that was like great when you called him on that whole show, going to the Supreme Court, was it, or something? I mean,
yep.
I haven't even ever heard of what he's talking about. Like is that a thing? Somebody trying to get paranormal investigators to be licensed? And
absolutely not.
I haven't even heard of that. Like, who comes up with that?
Well, like I said on the show, the trouble with it is you know, not only do you have the paranormal field itself that's going to oppose that particular move, you're going to have the scientific field oppose it.
Right.
Because if you start regulating the paranormal field, then they have to recognize that we're a viable field of study.
Right.
And the scientific field don't want that allowed.
Right.
So there's a lot of barriers and a lot of problems with that particular scenario in itself. So,
Which brings up one comment, and one comment alone. Are you really serious?
I was gonna say.
As I said, I've been looking through and searching some files, and I've received a 339-page report on Ted Bundy from the FBI. I do have that. I can show it right here if you'd like to see it. And I actually happen to have an example of Ted Bundy's writing if we want to compare. And here it is, my friends.
Wow, that's some real chicken scratch right there.
So, yeah, I'm thinking good luck copying that chicken scratch.
Yeah. Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you have that information.
Yeah.
Because that, but see, and that's the thing. Nobody asked you for that.
Mm-mm.
And I've been asking every show. Every time I see him anywhere, I'm like, show the letter. Then the last one, he goes, I'm going to stop talking about Ted Bundy because it's creating, he's getting angry and it's creating negative feelings and vibes in my house. And, I think I should just stop talking about him. And I said, no, that's because you're getting the heat of show these documents, show like that you really did this.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And the sad part is he's fooled a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
When asking him for any sort of document, it has been denied. And don't get me wrong, I love the man for what he's done with the homeless. I admire that and I respect that man.
Absolutely.
But when it comes to the paranormal and the psychology, I mean, like we were saying earlier, Tarin, that stuff is public fucking records.
Yeah.
All you have to do is search, Robert Riggy, psychologist, and his degrees and where he's interned and where he's licensed should pop up.
And if he opened up a private practice, that should show up too.
Well, if nothing else, I mean, you can certainly look his name up, to see if he's licensed anywhere in the United States. That's definitely on a database available to the public, available online. You can go onto it free of charge, and you can type in his name and see if he's licensed as a psychiatrist or psychologist.
Now, don't get us wrong, people. ShadowZone, nor Global, nor Paranormal Brew is by any means bashing Robert Riggy. What we are doing are stating specific facts that prove and show that this man has not done what he said he's done. Now, if he wants to come on one of our shows and say, look, I have the documents, then by all means, come on our show. Show us the documents. You will get a full-fledged apology, and we'll move on with our life.
Absolutely.
But exactly, and if we're wrong, and you were right, brother.
Right.
But show us these documents. Prove to us you are who you say you are. And that's the end of it, dude. If you can't prove it, then how are we supposed to believe it?
Right. And
it's
not just that. It's like,
dig into you at one point in time?
The what?
Did he not think that somebody was going to do their homework on him at one point in time?
I guess not. I mean, especially if you're saying, I think somebody said earlier that the earliest was from 2016. I mean, that long he's been telling the story, but every time he's on a podcast, the story's different. And I think when he gets asked a question, the next podcast he's on, he doesn't get asked that question, but he gives an answer before the person can ask it. I noticed that tonight, what the heck was it? It was somebody asked him, oh, darn it. I have to go back and because I thought it was funny that he was on a podcast previously and they asked him a question and he kind of ignored that. And then on the next one, he just volunteered that information. Like he had, come up with an answer just in case somebody asked that question this time, and the stories just are never consistent, and I don't know why. Now, granted, things happen, in 1980, he says, I mean, maybe you're not going to remember every single detail, but, you can't say on one story that, oh, I help kids that when they're sitting in a classroom and they're looking out the window and, they're seeing spirits and they're getting in trouble by their teacher. And then on the next one say, I was in class looking out the window, seeing spirits and I was getting in trouble by my teacher. Like, is it you or was it the kids? Like, who is it? And
The stories just aren't consistent.
right. And those are just the little things,
Exactly.
The
Gosh.
bigger thing is trying to put yourself off as a forensic psychologist and saying you have a degree in forensic psychology and you have a degree in social work. I mean, that to me is totally, because there's going to be people watching these shows that see he helps children to cross over and go to heaven and, walks the parents through. I mean, I was watching one and it was quite disturbing. I mean, I don't have children. You have children? You have children.
Mhm.
Right? So imagine being so desperate, your child is terminally ill, and you're watching the show and this guy talks about how he crosses them over and how he helps the families thereafter, and walks with the children and this and that, and talks so angelically high about all of this stuff, right? You're desperate. You're like already mourning and, you're going to look for any type of a comfort, invite this man into your home, and I don't know how long he stays there, but then he was saying how after the child passes away, he has the parents take the child and give them a bath. And then after the bath, he has them, take them out and, and then they call, I guess he called it something else. I don't know what he calls it, but I guess, the coroner, whoever would come pick up the body, and he says, I make them not put the child in a body bag or, they don't zip up. The parents are the ones that do all of this. He makes the parents carry the child out to the car. I mean, like all kinds of stuff he's saying. I'm thinking, who the fuck does that? Like, no, like, I don't know. To me, it's weird. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to bathe my child after they passed away.
No.
Like I mean, and he says, well, it's a one last thing that they can do for their child, and I'm thinking that's just not, it just doesn't feel right. It just isn't right. And there's going to be people watching that and they're going to call him. And he's like, I don't charge, but I'll take donations. People are going to give him money then. You know what I mean? If they think that he's doing this like thing where, they're helping. He's like, then the parents know that their child went to heaven. You don't even know where, like, don't stop it. Stop trying to make money off of people that are grieving and going through things. It's not right.
Before I hired anybody to come in there and do that for my child, grieving or not, I would want to see credentials.
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing. Like you being in that state of mind, which thankfully none of us know what that feels like. I know
what that feels like.
Okay, I'm very sorry. But being in that state of mind, I would think most people probably wouldn't. I mean, I didn't even think to look him up coming on my podcast. I mean, he says it's like these people contact him because they heard him on podcasts. He says that all the time. He's like, the parents hear me on these podcasts and they're contacting me, and on the podcast, people are like praising him, and I'm writing, do you know him? How long have you known him? Oh, I've just seen him on podcasts. Then how do you know he's like so great? How do you know? Do you know anything else about him than what he's saying? So he says himself that these parents are reaching out to him because they're seeing him on these podcasts. And then I deleted mine. I deleted mine because I don't want any parent to watch my show and decide that they're going to call him and have him come into their home and do all these things with their children, before they pass away, and and thereafter, and find out that he's a fraud, and then come back to me and say, you had this guy on your show, and on the flip side of that, you don't know if even that's true. You don't know what's true. So, but I just don't want to take any chances with it, So, like I said, I deleted my show with him, and I just hope going forward that people do just, I don't know. There's, like I said, he's got podcasts planned for months, so I'm hoping that people research and learn and maybe cancel.
Yeah.
And again, I've never done anything like this. I'm not out to ruin anybody's life. I'm not trying to, I just want to protect us as a family, the paranormal family. You want to go somewhere else with that stuff, go somewhere else with it, but don't use
Well, besides that, you're out for the truth. Let's face it.
Yeah.
We got too much of this going on in the field. We got too much ego. We got too many people out for themselves. And, if you want to be a legitimate field of study where we come up to answers and come up to theories and do our testings and do our experiments and we're legitimate about it, we don't have any room for this.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's Riggy. I don't care if it's anybody else. We don't have the room. We don't have the time for it.
Right. And, and I feel like he's just using the paranormal as a platform to try to get this charade out there that he plays. And hopefully there's some poor soul out there that, is listening and thinking, what they're hearing is gospel, and call him up and say, come help me with my child and whatever, and I just don't think it's right. I mean, there's nothing saying he's a forensic psychologist anywhere, and every show says he has a degree in that, and a social worker. But he also says like, oh, and then my psychic medium, combined helps, and that's what he uses to say like, oh, that's how I have them cross over.
Well, I can go on a website right now and I can go to the Florida State University and I can take a course online right here from Arizona in psychology and get a degree in it. However, as with most professions in the medical field, just because you have a degree doesn't mean you're licensed.
Right.
Okay. A degree doesn't show a license. So.
Right. I was NAC certified when I was 18, 19. I got licensed for a year or two, and then I let my license lapse.
Right. But, a lot of people don't realize that. Like, they hear I have a degree in forensic psychology, they think that this man is a doctor if they don't know any better, and you can't blame anybody for that. I mean, like, but again, like you said, Brian, you'd be looking somebody up. You'd be looking for the credentials. You'd want to see, I mean, if he just would have came on like as a forensic psychologist or something like that, or even if he just did the psychic medium thing, like even if he said he was a psychic medium, but he's like adding so much unnecessary lies, like all the serial killer stuff, and and all that. Like, why are you so that's why the motive to me is so confusing. I don't know what why he's doing what he's doing.
And I mean, if he did all that, and he can show some sort of evidence that he did do all this, then my hat's off to him.
Absolutely. I will publicly apologize and, everything like that. I totally will. But the fact that, I have been asking him questions and trying to get him to show me stuff, trying to find stuff. I've had, Eldon, you've been working on stuff. I've had 2 other people in the background working on stuff for me, that have access to things and this, and nobody can find anything. Nothing. So
that's really the biggest problem with it. It's not what we're finding, it's the lack of the find is the problem.
Yeah.
And, like I said, it's truly disheartening because, deep down, Robert Reedy is a great guy.
Oh yeah, he is. I love his personality. I like what he does for feeding the homeless, and he's there for the unfortunate, and I think that's terrific. But
absolutely, we
could really go without, all of the added seasonings that don't belong there.
Yeah, and he was in trouble once for fraud, and and I said this, when I was talking to Brian, I go, everybody makes mistakes in life. People do things in desperate moments, and then you look back and you're like, I can't believe I did that, or everybody messes up and everybody has, things that they're not proud of, but if you're still lying and you're still putting fraudulent information out there and you're still doing fraudulent stuff, like you haven't learned from whatever mistakes you've made, and you're still that person, you're still that fraud.
Oh, the thing I regret the most was the attempted murder charge I had put on me. Yeah, I did 15 years of my life in a federal prison. I'm just regeing you.
Oh, I was like, okay. I mean, people, make mistakes and they learn from them.
I got to go now.
I'm going to throw you back out of this. Don't look me up.
But yeah, so I just don't, it just doesn't feel right for me. And again, if I'm wrong, I will apologize to everybody, that I've brought this attention to. I was doing what I thought is the best for my friends, my peers, our community, and hopefully somebody that is listening that would think to call him for help.
Wow, what happened to Brian?
I don't know.
He's not even backstage. I think he completely got cut off somewhere. Wow.
Facebook probably heard him talking about he was 15 years, for attempted murder. They're like, oh, you're banned. Banned from Facebook. Banned from Facebook for 60 days.
Picked myself on my own podcast.
I was going to say, what happened to you there, big guy?
Oh, kind of dropped my phone a little bit and went to go catch it and hit the back button and backed myself right on out of my podcast.
Well, all right, guys, I hate to cut this short, but I got to get going. I got to be at the cemetery in less than 20 minutes. So,
well, what are you doing?
What's that? I'm sorry.
What are you doing? An investigation or something?
Yeah, we're just going to meet with some new investigators, kind of go over some equipment, get them some kind of familiarized with it a little bit, and kind of give them a feel for using it. So cool. That's kind of what we're doing tonight. Nothing major, nothing real, just it's more of a familiarity measure tonight is what it is.
That's awesome. Well, good luck.
Yeah. All right. Well, nice meeting you, Tarin, and likewise. I look forward to talking to you in the future again. And just keep me updated as to what you find. I mean, yeah. I'm not stopping either. I'm continuing on until I get some of the answers I'm looking for.
Or even like him. I mean, I know you said you tried calling him and his phone's off. So
yeah, I wish I could get through to him because, I'd certainly like to get some answers. Maybe he can help shed some light on this stuff. So
yeah, and be here to defend whatever it is that, that's being found out or not found out. or thought of.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's only fair, but
Right. Right. Okay. And okay, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out of here. And Huntophobia, good night. Good seeing you on the podcast. Thank you for showing up, brother. And I'll talk to you later.
Later,
Okay,
Eldon.
All right, bye-bye, man.
Well.
yes.
And then there was two.
Then there was just us.
I don't know. Do you prefer the left side or do you prefer the right side?
Right side.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm a southpaw, so I look weird.
I really enjoyed tonight. It was very awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
It was my honor, Miss Nominee.
I know. I can't believe it. I'm like, what? How me? And I don't even know how that happens. But and I didn't even know about it until somebody messaged me. And they said, did you know you're nominated? And I was like, what? No. So.
Well, I am very, very proud of you. And I cannot wait to go back to your very first podcast and see how you've transitioned and butterflied.
It's a mess. It's a mess at the beginning.
Into this beautiful butterfly of a podcast you have now.
Yes. In the beginning, it was a mess.
Well, we all got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My podcast, in the beginning, I'm dropping F-bombs left and right. I'm smoking cigarettes. I'm doing drunk podcasts. And
yeah. It was not, and I'm not saying that about the people that I did it with, because I used to have 2 other people that would do it with me, but I'm just saying the way we did it, it just wasn't, but I kept with it. And, since I've been solo, it's been a lot better. And that's nothing against anybody that's ever done it with me. It's just, I make my own rules and I do my own thing. Hi, baby.
Sorry, I'm being photobombed here.
No, I love it. I love fur babies.
This is Daisy Lou.
Hi, Daisy. Is she what, Chihuahua?
No, this is my Jack Russell Terrier.
Oh, look how cute. Oh, my goodness.
And look at me. Really. We paid $200 for her a few months ago, and she went from a skinny, skittish dog to a very well-fed and still kind of skittish and very protective.
Hold on, I'll show you. This is my baby. I have 3 cats, but there's my baby.
Oh, well, look at you.
There's my Roscoe.
Roscoe, huh?
You gonna say hi?
You are a handsome little fellow. What kind of dog is he?
He is a Havanese.
Havanese.
Mm-hmm. He's my baby. But so
dogs are a wonderful thing.
Huh?
The dogs are a wonderful thing.
Oh, yeah. But I have 3 cats though too. They're my babies as well. They're both, all of them. They're just amazing.
I would have a cat, but there's somebody in the house allergic to them. Unfortunately, can't have the kitties.
Yeah, they're great. They're awesome.
Every time I pick one out, they always tend to be the spastic. I'm going to attack you 24/7 and never let you love on me.
Oh, mine are not. Mine are the opposite. They're like, they play fetch. Everything. Like, they're awesome. And
nice.
The one of the things I love about cats is they're so independent. They do their own thing. They take themselves to the bathroom. They bathe themselves. They're just very independent creatures, and it's not much responsibility.
Right. Something I hate doing most of all is having to get up first thing in the morning, throw a pair of shoes on, and take the dog out to go to the bathroom.
I know. I think somebody needs to go out. That's why he's in here looking at me. What? Go outside. It's snowing. But yeah. But I really appreciate coming on. And if by chance you get a hold of Robert and there's something happening, please include me. I would love to be included.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll see where it goes from here, because I mean, I basically my post today and then this, I mean, it's kind of just calling him out. So
All right. I hope he does answer, and I hope it's for the best.
yeah, whichever way it is, I just hope for sure.
We're not talking shit about Robert Rigi. We're just stating facts that we've done our research and can't find anything, and would like a little proof to shed the light on who Robert Rigi really is, whether he's indeed what he says he is or he's full of Rigi.
Are you Rigi serious?
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Well, Brian, thank you.
You are very welcome.
I'll have to have you guys on one night. We'll just have a huge, like, little paranormal powwow party or something.
That would be absolutely great. And
Yeah.
you've been a great guest. I've learned a lot about you, and I would definitely like a round 2 with you.
Absolutely. Where we don't have to talk a lot about, that we can talk about other stuff, good stuff.
Absolutely. Why do these people keep popping up?
I know. I hate them.
Freaking spammers.
I know.
All right, Tarin, I'm sure you got better things to do than talking to some fat, bald guy about the paranormal.
Stop it. No, I can talk about paranormal all night. But yeah, I'll come on anytime. And then, like I said, you guys should come on,
Absolutely. Look through your appointment book, see when you got a time, and yeah, we're down for anything, anytime, anywhere.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you.
I will even go to cancel my show on Wednesday and direct everybody who watches our show, direct them to your show.
That would be awesome.
And I shall spread your YouTube and your Facebook around the 5-6 platforms that I am on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've shared this. I got to share it to my other one. But yeah, I've already shared this one out. So
awesome.
So I appreciate it. I appreciate your time and having me on.
I appreciate your time as well. And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Good night.
Have a good night, hon.
You too. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, all right, guys. That is going to wrap things up for tonight. Just remember, folks, that if you want a drama-free, paranormal enthused platform, please go to your Google Play Store, download the Parapost Network. It is free, and come be part of the hottest paranormal platform going today and going nowhere but up from here. And don't forget to drop by and see Jesse at D's Ghost and get all of your equipment needs met. Well, from your ghost, that was a mouthful. From your ghost host, ShadowZone, Brian James, we'll see you on the flip side, folks. Have a ghoulish night and a hauntingly good day.